said that a child suggested including When Aiden Became a Brother, an award-winning picture book about a transgender boy. She told The Advocate, "I wasn't going to tell the kid no."
All right, guys, we're back here with another normal gay reaction video, this time about a controversy involving a librarian, allegations of grooming, and cancel culture. Clarkson, do you frequent your local library? I do not, if I'm being so for real.
I do, for sure. I read all the time.
Oh, okay. Well, I have a
Just
Kindle,
kidding.
so I do ebooks mostly.
I try to read. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Okay. Well, hopefully you are not reading books from this one librarian's display, or I should say ex-librarian, because a woman was just fired from her job as a librarian for a controversial book that she put in a display. Let's listen to this video from Pink News summarizing the story.
A librarian in Georgia has been fired after including a book about a transgender boy in a summer reading display. Lavanya Moore had spent 5 years as the manager of a local library in Pierce County, Georgia. While assembling the summer reading display, Moore said that a child suggested including When Aiden Became a Brother, an award-winning picture book about a transgender boy. She told The Advocate, "I wasn't going to tell the kid no. I was just happy they were engaging in their library." However, shortly after the display went up, Moore was targeted by Alliance for Faith and Family, a local conservative Christian group. Taking to social media on June 18th, the group urged people to write to members of the library system and local elected government officials to complain about the display. 3 days later, the group boasted that the display has been removed and Lavanya is no longer the Pierce County library manager. Moore told The Advocate she had been handed her termination papers by Three Rivers Regional Library System Director Jeremy Snell, citing poor decision in the line of performance of duty. In response to the firing, GLAAD said in a statement, "No one should lose their job for doing their job. Libraries should always be a place where everyone in the community can feel safe to explore, learn, and grow."
So I have more details here, but first, give me your initial reaction.
She looks so sweet. So I I feel bad. I'm sure that the contents of the book were not appropriate. I'm like 90. I haven't read it, but I would be like 90% sure that it's not an appropriate book. But I honestly think it's more dangerous to have religious institutions and nonprofits police what books we can have than it is to have that one specific book in the library. So when it comes to, weighing out what's worse, I think the activism that stopped the book from being read is worse than the actual book.
Yeah, I also haven't read that particular book, but I can say that books like that push the idea of gender identity and gender fluidity and transing genders and all this on very young kids, I do find to be genuinely objectionable and concerning. But I would also say that it's on you as a parent to like keep track of what books your kid is taking out of the library, and that there may be many books in a library that you don't want your kid to read, but it's not necessarily that the library should never stock any of them or have them in any displays. It's that you should be monitoring what your kid is reading and being exposed to the extent that you can. And you should be instilling values in your kid and teaching them what you believe and what you want them to believe. But yeah, I mean, you can totally object to the inclusion of this book. Fair game, totally fair. Firing her for this seems harsh. I mean, couldn't the book have been removed? She'd been told not to do it again. It feels witch hunty and cancel culture-y to me.
Yeah, this is a public library, right? It's not a school
Yeah.
library. So then that even raises the question, like, yeah, maybe the book is inappropriate to be in the kid section. But having the book, I wouldn't say is inappropriate because the whole job of a public library is to represent diverse viewpoints. I would argue maybe it should be in an adult section.
But it's a children's
So
book, though.
I know. But like, basically what I'm saying is in a public library, the standards are different than I would say a school library. So that's another point to be considered when it comes to this.
Yeah, and she's made a GoFundMe, and there's some details in there that I think are interesting. Clarkson, you want to go ahead and read this for us?
My name is Lavanya Moore. For the past 15 years, I have proudly served in public libraries and lived in Pierce County, Georgia. I've given my time, my heart, and my energy to the library and to the people who walked through its doors, day in and day out, through ups and downs, always with love. That is until June 18th, 2025, when I was called in on my day off and fired. Why? Because I approved a volunteer-made display for our summer reading program titled Color Our World. Families helped their children put together a display featuring books that celebrated the colors of life. The children wanted colorful books with rainbows. One of the titles they picked was When Aiden Became a Brother, an award winning, age appropriate story about love and acceptance in a family with a transgender child. I didn't create the display myself. I simply supported community involvement, just as I have for other volunteer led displays. That's what librarians do. We create space for everybody. Libraries are one of the very few public spaces left for everybody. We empower voices, we make room for the whole community. I did not tell the parents and children what they could or could not add to the display, just as I do not tell them what they can or cannot read. That is not how libraries or democracies work.
So this part was kind of a game changer for me. If assuming this is her statement, so assuming everything here is true, well, I mean, we just have to take that on faith. She didn't even put the book in the display. Like other
Yeah.
people made the display and she just didn't censor the book from it, I guess. I don't know, man. The idea that she'd be canceled over this and fired, it seems crazy to me. Take the book out of the display if it's not age appropriate. That's where I disagree with her. I don't think that sounds age appropriate because I don't think very young picture book age reading children can understand the concept of gender identity and transgender and all these things that frankly don't even make a ton of sense to adults. But to fire her for allowing other people to organize a display and not like overriding them and taking a book out of it, it seems crazy.
It's giving me like witch hunt vibes. Like especially given that it was a what is it, a nonprofit, a Christian nonprofit for advocacy. So I mean, my question is, where is the grace? Because clearly some should be extended in this situation. You can disagree, but her and the nonprofit can disagree on whether or not it's age appropriate. But I think if you are a Christian organization, you should be able to grasp the nuance associated with this situation and not turn to just like, hang the witch. Maybe just get the book out, advocate for that. But getting her fired just seems like it's absent of the grace that Christians pretend to have
And they
in most.
also some of them do have for sure, but
For sure, yeah.
they literally, like, posted on Facebook the names and information of all the people to contact to demand to address the situation and demand implicitly, I don't think they said it explicitly, to get this woman fired. And then there's one final part of her statement that I wanna read. "Nevertheless, members of a group called the Alliance for Faith and Family saw the display and saw it as an opportunity to promote their own divisive political agenda. They organized a campaign against me and pressured the new library head to fire me. Instead of investigating, talking to me or my team, or exploring any kind of fair process, they used the at-will clause in my contract to terminate me on the spot. No warning, no meeting, no due diligence, just the words poor decision making on a piece of paper after 15 years of service." That really bothers me. Like, surely, even if she did make a bad decision in allowing this book to be displayed, which I think is fair to say at least, no process, no feedback, no solutions, nothing. Just you're out of here, you're canned. We're caving to this angry mob on Facebook. That seems cowardly to me.
It's cancel culture. That's literally what it is. I mean, people are becoming in their little collectives and they're using whatever social power they have to advance their goals. And I mean, it's nothing new. It's just I think the right took advice from the left and they started doing the same thing. I think the average person, and we've talked about this in other episodes, the average person doesn't understand the gravity of what's going on when it comes to like child transitions and things like that. So to expect a librarian to be an activist of some sorts, to be policing every single book and at the threat of being fired, I think is just unrealistic for the general population. Until we get to the point where everybody has agreed, okay, this is not great, what we're doing to kids, it's just unrealistic. And like I said before, it lacks the grace that this librarian should deserves.
Also, it's impossible for a librarian to read every single book that's gonna be displayed, right? So they have to go off of other signs, and it was mentioned that this was an award-winning book that received, like, literary awards. So the idea that as a librarian, you can't allow an award-winning book to be displayed or you get fired, that seems just unreasonable to me. Now, maybe she is some crazy woke activist. I don't know. Maybe she does use her position to indoctrinate kids or whatever, but, like, do an investigation, come up with more facts than this, because based off what we're going off of, I looked at the organization, the Christian organization, all their statements. I looked at her statement. I looked at the reporting about it. All we have is this one book that she allowed. It seems like right-wing cancel culture to me, and I don't stand for and will not support that.
Agreed.
Okay, guys, let us know what you think in the comments. Make sure to subscribe if you aren't yet. Hit that like button while you're at it. Subscribe to Clarkson's YouTube channel, and stay tuned for more Normal Gaze content coming up soon.